In 1995, a man sat alone in a trading room in Singapore. His name was Leeson, and he had a problem. He had started the year with a small trading loss, something he could fix, something manageable. So he made another trade to cover the first loss. That trade lost money too. So he made another, and another, and another. By the time anyone found out what Leeson had been doing, he had lost $1.4 billion. He bankrupted Barings Bank, the oldest merchant bank in Britain. Now here is what I need you to understand about Leeson. He was not reckless. He was not stupid. He was not some rogue gambler who did not care about the consequences. He was intelligent. He was experienced. And according to every person who knew him, he was deeply rational. So what happened? What makes a rational, intelligent person keep making a decision they know is destroying them? That is exactly what we are going to find out today. Behavioral economists have a name for what Leeson experienced. They call it the sunk cost fallacy. And before you think that sounds like something that only happens to traders and corporations, I need to stop you right there. This pattern isn't about money. It happens inside every human brain every single day. Have you ever stayed in a job you hated, not because you had no other options, but because you had already been there for 3 years? Have you ever sat through a terrible movie you paid for, not enjoying a single minute of it, but refusing to walk out? Have you ever stayed in a relationship long past the point it made sense, because of everything you had already put into it? That was the sunk cost fallacy. And here is the terrifying part. The part that behavioral science has now confirmed with decades of research. You were not making those decisions consciously. Your brain was making them for you. And it was doing it using a logic that made complete sense to your brain, even as it was destroying you. The sunk cost fallacy was first studied by behavioral economists Hal Arks and Catherine Bloomer in 1985. They ran an experiment. Participants were given tickets to a ski trip. Some paid full price. Some paid a discount. Some got theirs for free. Then, the night before the trip, they were told the forecast was terrible. Dangerous weather. A miserable experience was almost guaranteed. Who would still go? The people who paid full price were far more likely to go, even knowing it would be a terrible experience. The people who got their tickets free, most of them stayed home. Logical, rational, safe. Consider what that means. The amount of money already spent, money that was gone regardless of their decision, was actively changing the choices people made about their future. That is the core of the sunk cost fallacy. We let past investments, money, time, emotion, effort dictate future decisions, even when past investments are irrelevant to the current decision. But why does this happen? Why does a rational brain do something so clearly irrational? This is where it gets fascinating. Neuroscientists at Stanford found that walking away from an investment triggers the same brain response as physical pain. The same neural pathways, the same distress signals. Walking away from a sunk cost literally hurts. Your brain, wired to avoid pain, generates rational-sounding reasons to stay. I have already come this far. I cannot waste what I have put in. It would be wrong to give up now. Those thoughts feel like wisdom, discipline, integrity. They are none of those things. They are your brain, generating a story to protect you from the pain of loss. And that story costs you far more than the original investment. In the 1960s, the United States government faced a decision about Vietnam. Military advisors were clear. The war was unwinnable, costing more lives, money, and time. The logical decision was to find an exit. But they did not exit for over a decade. Why? Because 50,000 American soldiers had died, billions had been spent. Walking away felt like making those costs meaningless. The sunk cost fallacy at a national scale cost 58,000 lives. Think about someone who stayed in a relationship years past its expiry date. Not because they were happy or things improved, but because of everything they had invested. For years, a shared apartment, mutual friends, an imagined future. The investment was real, but it was sunk, gone. The only question that mattered, does this relationship, right now, serve who you are becoming? But that is not the question the brain asks when it is running the sunk cost fallacy. The brain asks, how much have I given? and uses that to make the decision. You paid for a 1-year subscription, a course, a gym, an app, a streaming service. 6 months in, you stopped using it. It's not serving you. You dread opening it. But you keep renewing every year because you paid for it. Letting it go feels like admitting wasted money. The money is already gone whether you use it or not. But you spend more of your irreplaceable life to avoid feeling like you made a mistake. This is the sunk cost fallacy in your actual life, not just in trading rooms. How do you know if the sunk cost fallacy is running your decisions? There are 3 signals. Be honest and you'll recognize at least one. Signal 1. I have come too far to stop now. Any time that sentence forms in your mind about a job, relationship, project, or habit, your brain is running the sunk cost fallacy. It's a fear response disguised as determination. Signal 2. You justify a decision using the past, not the future. The question isn't, how long have I been here? It's always, where does this lead? If you can't answer that clearly and you're staying anyway, that's the fallacy. Signal 3. Leaving feels like failure. Staying feels like loyalty. Loyalty to what? To a past decision made before you had current information. You're not the same person who made that decision. Circumstances and information are not the same. Changing course is not weakness. It's the most rational thing a brain can do. Nick Leeson couldn't change course. His brain wouldn't let him. That's not a character flaw. It's a behavioral pattern. One that, once seen, you can interrupt. Here's the one tool behavioral scientists found that interrupts the sunk cost fallacy. It's a single, uncomfortable question. If I were not already invested in this, if I were starting fresh today with everything I now know, would I choose this? Not, should I continue because of what I've given? But, would I choose this fresh today? That question forces your brain to evaluate the present situation, not the sunk cost. It's not always comfortable. Sometimes the honest answer will surprise you. But that discomfort isn't failure. That's your brain finally working correctly. The sunk cost fallacy is one pattern, a behavioral loop shaping decisions about your job, relationships, time, and money, often without your knowledge. But it's not the only one. Another, arguably more powerful, pattern explains why you consistently underestimate how long things will take, how much they'll cost, and how hard they'll be. Behavioral scientists call it the planning fallacy. It's running in the background of almost every goal you've set this year. That's what we're breaking down next Wednesday. If you want to see the patterns controlling your life, this is the channel that breaks them down. Subscribe. I'll see you Wednesday.